All right, y'all. Today we're going to talk about different businesses that you could create as an owner-operator, like the best ones that I could think of as a service business. Let me put that qualifier on it. All right, service businesses you could start tomorrow as an owner-operator if you got the skills and you got the experience. You know, we keep hearing about the economy is a disaster and inflation and all that, right? Well, a lot of times starting your own service business can get you money quickly. You know, can get you cash when you need it. I did a video a while back about how having the skill was going to be so necessary, and it's coming to fruition. It was like 3 years ago. It was like one of my early videos. I'll put it in the description so y'all can check it out. But that's what's happening, man. And yeah, you can drive Uber part-time to try to make up the deficit for your job, or you can get yourself a skill and start one of these service businesses that can put some money in your pocket now. All right, so let's get into it. Also, throughout the video, I'm gonna be probably showing some other YouTube channels, giving them some props, man. You know, and shouting some of them out. And by the way, if somebody I missed and you love, put them in there, man, so we can all check them out. So, all right, let's get into it. By the way, this video is gonna be a little long, gonna be a little lengthy. So I'm gonna put timestamps in the description, man, so you can, if you just want to skip to a certain business that you want to hear about, be my guest. Now, the first one I'll start out with is pressure washing. Now, that's definitely something you can do on your own. And by the way, I'm gonna go into pros and cons of any of these businesses. I'm not just gonna gas people up and like, you know, you can do this overnight and it's just gonna be super easy and like, you know, like a lot of these people do on YouTube. It's not a super high barrier or entry to start. You can get a decent pressure washer that'll do most houses. I mean, you know, of course, the more money you're gonna put into it, the faster you'll be able to go and the more jobs you'll be able to complete. But I'm just talking about starting out. When you first start out, you can go to Lowe's or Home Depot. Now, those aren't the greatest, like the ones that they sell at the store, but it can get you a start. You still don't need to get a cheap one. You still need to get a high dollar one from there. So, and of course you need chemicals and a few other things, right? But you don't need to do major, like huge jobs. You just need to stick to the smaller ones, you know? Now, of course, when you really want to start making some money, or you get good at it, or you starting to learn what you're doing, so maybe you're just doing it part-time for a house here and there, and you're starting to figure out how to do it, then you move up with the big boys, you know, not necessarily the whole build out of the pressure washer yet. Maybe just you're getting up to like a 4 gallon per minute pressure washer. And then you could go up from there, of course, and then get the whole build outs, either the back of the truck or pull a whole trailer behind with a pressure washing system built up in there. You know, but the whole thing is you're gonna have to learn. You gotta learn all the downstream injection, and there's all sorts of things to learn about the pressure washing business. The big thing you gotta worry about is you don't want to be just when you start playing with chemicals, it can get a little dicey, right? So you don't want to be just killing people's plants, because think about the cost of landscaping, man. You destroy all somebody's bushes and everything, dude. That could potentially put you out of business right from the start. So one thing I used to always do when I was first starting this business of mine, I would just watch. I didn't really care what kind of service business it was. I would just watch the videos, because it was just helping me to say, okay, in this industry it's like this. Okay, they service this type of customers. This is how they get business. It might be similar to what I do. Maybe because as a handyman, I might offer pressure washing services, you know, for certain situations. Now, I usually don't. The only time I actually pressure wash, to be honest with you, is decks, because I do a lot of deck restoration. So I'll pressure wash those, because there's actually a lot of pressure washing guys that won't touch decks because they don't do the whole restoration part. And you know, you can mess up a deck with a pressure washer. You know, it'll look like it'll look fuzzy. You can make the whole deck look fuzzy if you don't know what you're doing. One of the first channels I used to watch on pressure washing was, it was Dan's vlog. You know, I don't think he's doing pressure washing anymore. I'm pretty sure he's not. But Clean, was it Clean Power Washing? I think he's out of like Maryland, Salisbury or something like that. You know, Flamingo pressure washing. I think he's out of Florida. Is it Aaron's Mean Academy? I don't know, something like that. I'll put it on the screen. And who else? The king of pressure washing, I think it's Jason Diamond or Guyman or something like that. I don't know. I've watched them. A lot of these were, you know, ones that I watched in the past, because I don't really watch many now. But I'm telling you, I actually learned a lot about pressure washing. So even though I don't do it, I know a good amount about pressure washing from watching it and then actually doing my little bit of, pressure washing that I do. So pressure washing, man. The next one I'll be looking to start as an owner-operator, self-employed owner-operator, service business, would be appliance repair. I mean, let me tell you something, man. Appliance repair doesn't get the love because it's just, I don't know, it's just one of the things you just don't think about, right? So it doesn't get the love that a lot of, people always think about HVAC and carpentry and all this other stuff. But, no. Appliance repair, you can make some money, okay? Just think how many houses, just think for a second, man, how many houses you drive by and how many appliances that each house has in it. It's mind-blowing. You might be talking about 4 to 5 appliances per house. Then you got to multiply all the houses. Dude, there's work out there. There's people who need work done. I don't know how many houses I went at as a handyman, and I went in to do work, and then they just asked me, this happened to mention something about their dryer having issues or something in passing. They're just talking about it in passing. They might ask me, is there anybody I know or recommend? And I'd be like, I can take a look at that for you. When I first started and I was thinking about adding extra services because I was going through some dead periods and I was all over the place with building, right? So I thought about, okay, I don't know how appliance repair even came across. It was one of these 3 dudes I saw first. It was either Mike Sneed, it was Brother B, TMM, or Mike Check. And I don't know if Mike Check's still doing it or not. I haven't, but it was one of those 3 that their video somehow popped up and opened me to the world of appliance repair. And then I just started checking out a bunch of different videos on appliance repair. And there's a lot to it, as far as different brands and like I said, there's a learning curve to anything. But if you're willing to put your mind to just learning the material and, there's different parts, but if you start learning and understanding how these systems work, I'm telling you, man, like how to get the manuals and best place to get the parts from and all that, there's definitely really, really good money to be made in appliance repair. Like, whether you do, I ran into a guy because I had an issue with my refrigerator and I had a sealed system problem. And a guy locally that does appliance repair, and I ran into him at Home Depot, was asking him, hey man, you do sealed systems? He was like, I don't really need to. It's not really worth my time to do the sealed systems because there's so many other things going on. And I was like, that's crazy, because on the sealed systems you can make a gang of money too. So like I said though, you have to be willing to learn, because you're gonna have to study before you go out to the jobs, and before you go out and do anything, you have to study the system. Whatever, you're gonna have to look up the appliance that you're gonna work on and figure those things out. And that's when I first started, like one thing that I was really good at, because I did electronics in high school, was reading schematics. So that's one thing that really helped me to accelerate fast in appliance repair, was the ability to read schematics, because I could just figure out what components. I could right from the start just start eliminating components, because this is not even, I could look and say this component has nothing to do with this one over here. They're not even, the circuits aren't connected. And I could almost figure out where the issue was coming from just by looking at the schematics. So, I'm telling you, appliance repair, check out Appliance Bootcamp. Mike Sneed, he doesn't really talk specifics on appliance repair anymore, but I mean, he has a whole catalog, and he has the Appliance Bootcamp, which I gotta say, I'm an alumni, man. I think I took that thing back in like 2020. I took Appliance Bootcamp. So Mike Sneed over at Appliance Bootcamp. Check out TMM Appliance Academy. I think it's TMM Appliance Academy. If you're interested in commercial appliance repair, because that's a whole nother subset. Like, there's just like different genres of appliance repair. Check Mike Reed over at I think it's called New to Commercial. It wasn't that, he changed his name. It was a different YouTube channel, but he changed the name. The same channel. I think he changed the name to New to Commercial. So, good information on different products and everything with commercial repair. And if you want to actually grow a business doing appliance repair into a large company, you got to check out the Appliance Boss. You know what I mean? You got to check out Marcus, the Money Man, the Appliance Boss. Check his channel out, man. Get more information about growing it. But I'm telling you, you could be a one-man army out here killing it in appliance repair. Look, there's one thing that all these businesses have in common. All of them. No matter what kind of service business you do, you're gonna need a CRM. And I'm telling you, the CRM that you need is Jobber. Jobber, y'all. And the thing is, when I talk about these things, a lot of times I talk in the micro instead of the macro, right? I talk about the small little features that they have that'll just enhance your business and make you look more professional. Right now, dude, they're coming out with so many new features, it's hard to even keep up. From the AI receptionist, right now, one of the features that they have that I think is awesome, makes you look insanely professional, is they got tap to pay. Come on, man, they came out with tap to pay. Now, you can literally take your phone, have all your information, have the invoice in, and the other people just pull up their Google Pay or their Apple Pay, and you just tap, and the transaction is completed. What else could you want, man? Even though there's a lot more things you can do, but just little things like that just help to speed up the process and, makes the customer experience so much better. Jobber, man, use my link in the description to get you a nice discount. You won't regret it. The next business is kind of funny to me because, when you start a service business, especially like me, you're in the handyman business, there's like a million different options of things you can add on, as far as jobs that you offer or services that you offer. I was just looking for, so many different things. And I was like, well, the more I add on, the more calls that I'll get, right? Because people I see I do everything, and they'll just be calling from all different directions. Not how it really works. A lot of times people want somebody who specifies in something in particular, right? So they don't want to, some people want to call me because they want to have one person they call for everything. Other people want to get the specialist in that field. And it was just so crazy because I was standing outside, like at my house one day, doing something in my truck, just thinking in my mind, like, how many services, what other service can I offer? And then a van drove by, and I'm not gonna say the whole name of the whole business, but it said it was dryer vent cleaning. And I was like, wait. You mean to tell me this dude got a whole business just cleaning dryer vents? I'm trying to be like the diner over here and have like 50 different options just for breakfast. Just for breakfast. This dude's riding around. He got, one thing. He got wrap truck and everything and offers one service. It blew my mind. So that goes to show you that you don't always need to offer a million things, man. But you do need to get good at a few things. But dryer vent cleaning is something you can offer as an entire business in itself, not tied to anything else. Now, certain people offer, I know over at Mike Sneed at Appliance Bootcamp, he recommends dryer vent cleaning. Because sometimes you can be in the house working on a dryer and then offer it as an upcharge, an upgrade, as part of a service. Or something you could do standalone, whatever. But I know they offer it. There are other places online I've seen. I think Jacob A. Mills was somebody that I've seen before that does just dryer vent cleaning and talks about dryer vent cleaning businesses, right? I know it as a service to offer. I might have done it once or twice, but I don't do it it's not something that I do as a business. But it's, if you're talking about something you can get into as a solo operator, it's crazy. Dryer vent cleaning, man, it's a good option. What you do need to know about dryer vent cleaning, though, is depending on where you are, heights are going to come into play. So, it's not always you're just going to be able to walk in and pull the dryer out and, go ahead and just clean it out from the inside. Some houses they do it from the outside. They don't want to mess with the dryer and the hose and all that. You want to clean it from the outside. But you got a lot more houses where the dryer vent is 2 stories up, where it's on the 2nd floor now. And then some places, like I know there's parts in California where they vent them onto the roof. So you got to go onto the roof of the house to get to the dryer vent. So just some of them things you should know. But regardless, there's work out there for you, man. So, all right, I know y'all like, hold up, man. Ain't you a handyman? How you talking about all these other businesses? Like, all right, I'm gonna get to the handyman business now. And the reason why I didn't start off with it is because it's a good business as an owner-operator. The thing is that by definition, you have to offer multiple services. Like you're not a handyman or a owner-operator, contractor or something like that. If you offer one service, you're just that service, right? So it's a great business to start. But if you don't have a lot of experience, the easiest way to start it, I think, is by doing small repairs. So being like a small repair handyman. And you can get a lot of that type of work, like doing small repairs with property managers, right? So a lot of the work you're going to do for property managers is you think about it, think about somebody living in an apartment or a rental property and somebody moves out. All the different things you got to do in filling nail holes and some painting jobs, and maybe there's something leaking you got to tighten up. Maybe it's time to replace the toilet's running, you need to replace the flapper or something like that, or even the flush kit. There's a lot of small things that you would be doing as a handyman that they need all the time. It might be replacing a garbage disposal or something like that. There's just somebody done ripped the curtains or the blinds out, and you got to go replace the blinds. And people come in, and I don't know if people attack the blinds when they start moving in. And look, I'm gonna be honest, I don't know if I'm the only one, but if I walk into a house, right, and I'm going there to do an assessment of a job or something like that, to do an estimate, and one of the first things I look at is the windows, because I want to see the blinds. And if the blinds look like they've been karate chopped, you know what I'm saying, like somebody was trying to break a stack of wood and they were practicing with blinds, and they just went to all the windows, went to the next window, and I'm like, dude, why are those still hanging up there? Brother, you can't close them or do anything. Why are they there? What happened to those blinds? I have 5 children, and I never had the blinds broken in my house like that. So I don't know what people are doing. But anyway, that's neither here nor there, man. Just observations. But sometimes people get those blinds get ripped down or whatever, and they call you, man. They need somebody to come up to replace them. All those things you can do early on. Now, of course, even those jobs can get more difficult with the repairs, depending on what kind of rental property you're doing. They might have wood rot issues and some stuff where you're doing work on the outside and you're starting to do a little more work. Okay, but you can build your skills while you're starting. So that's something I would get into. Small repairs, like I said, dealing with property managers, things of that nature. Or just offer small repairs, where, somebody has the honey-do list thing. I still do that to this day. I don't do it that often, but for customers that I know and I like, I go over there and I do this little teeny tiny drywall repair, and I'll go ahead and tighten this thing up over here, and I'll fix this little loose outlet over here. I'll do that, but it's rare. But I'm just telling you, it's things that you can do. So if you want to just talk about just being a solo operator and all the different opportunities that are out there to do as a solo operator handyman, well, you're watching the right channel already, man. Go to the playlist, The Finisher in Action is what I say. You want to learn more about property management and how to work with property managers? I always got to give it up to my boy Ray, man. Ray Duke, you got to go check him out over at, the Handyman, the Bulletproof Handyman Business. Check him out, man, and you get everything you need to know. Now, the next service business I have to talk about, it's something I used to always talk about. If I could start over, and I would have, maybe started years ago, which I probably should have done instead of working as a part-time security guard for 10 years. Goodness, if I would have known better, man, is which I'm trying to get y'all to understand. If you know better, you do better. Shout out to Maya Angelou. Furniture assembly, but not it doesn't have to just be furniture. I usually say furniture assembly, but just in an assembly business. Just an assembly business, you can assess all sorts of different things to assemble. I used to subcontract a lot for moving companies, where that was my job, was pretty much to do unboxings, and sometimes that unboxing I'd have to end up putting something together. So it'd be like, somebody moved and they moved all their gym equipment to this house and they put it all in the basement or whatever. Now it's my job to go unwrap it and put it all together. Now a lot of times I didn't have directions, so I kind of just had to feel my way around. But there are so many of those jobs out there. A lot of times with new stuff, when it's like, learning how to put together treadmills and all sort of different things like that. There's, like I said, there's furniture. There's outdoor furniture where, or stuff that goes in your yard, grills and things of that nature. Now, we're talking about as a solo operator, so I don't recommend getting into stuff like playgrounds or play sets and like gazebos. I mean, you can if you got that kind of skill. You know what I mean? Like, personally, I just wouldn't want the headache of trying to do it by myself. But So I would recommend to stick to smaller things. I mean, people, putting together and installing basketball hoops and all those different things, man, falls under assembly. Like, there's just a lot of things to put together that people either don't want to have to do it or they don't know how to. Some stuff can get complicated. Like I said, you start getting into like fitness equipment and different gym systems and stuff with all the pulley systems and stuff, man, those get complicated. People don't want to deal with it. And the thing is, it'll hardly cost you anything. It'll take you a drill, some drill bits, some screwdrivers. I mean, that's literally most of what you'll have to do will be different with unscrewing and screwing things together, bolts and, things like that. So don't sleep on assembly as a businessman, I'm trying to tell you. And what I've been noticing at a lot of the jobs that I do, because I'll do a job and then somebody will just ask me, especially if they're moving into a house, they'll say, do you do anything with like furniture assembly? Yeah, I do it now. I don't really offer it as a major service, but I'll do it if I'm there. I'll add it on, no problem. And what I'm noticing, a lot more people are ordering stuff from online, man. So they're not going to these local furniture stores paying $1,000 for a dresser. They're ordering it from overseas somewhere, and everything's coming packed, and you got to put this whole dresser together, and they'd rather pay you $150 to do that than pay $1,000 for the dresser down the street. It's just math. Right? So with the proliferation of, mail-in furniture, especially, man, you better get you some, man. Get you furniture assembly. It's when you can start today. And I don't know any YouTube channels that specify in furniture assembly, like as a business. I did see one before I think it's called Prime Spaces, where, I mean, he puts together a lot of furniture. I'm assuming it's a business because I don't know who else would have this much furniture to put together. You know what I'm saying? So he has to have a business. So I don't know if he talks about the business. I think he just mostly puts together furniture and, gives you like a how-to on a lot of the popular furniture out. But check that channel out, man, Prime Spaces. Other than that, you make the channel. You be the one to come out and make that furniture assembly channel. I'll check it out, man. Now, the next service business we're going to discuss is being a locksmith. Now, it's a business that I thought about way back in the beginning, but you see them driving around, but a lot of people don't really look into what locksmiths do. But you just think about it. How many locks are out there? Like if you're going for mobile things, if you like cars and trucks and all things like that, to houses, and where it's doors, it's garage doors, there's safes, there's all sorts of different things that require opening. And I remember really looking into it at one time because I used to do a lot of commercial work, and where I'd be at a store and those glass doors that close, the automatic glass doors in front of the store, where those locks would break, or where they have like the glass cases and things of that nature where the locks would break, and they need somebody to come in and fix that. And I remember fixing a couple of the locks, like on the glass cases, really just replacing them. I didn't fix them, and thinking like, what if I did a locksmith business? Why I was always thinking of other businesses, I don't know. Now I looked into it. Like I said, it's one of them businesses you can start tomorrow. Now, of course, I'd recommend that you get some sort of certification or take some courses and learn about it, not just go out there thinking you're just going to be changing locks all the time, because just like anything else, there's more to it. There's always more to it. You can start, but it's easy to start opening up locks and breaking them down and messing with the pins and figuring out how these things work, how the different mechanisms work. And like I said, getting certified and learning, going to courses about, dealing with different aspects of being a locksmith. So there's information out there. Now, of course, on YouTube, there's information, but there's not a lot of people who just have locksmith channels. Or maybe there are. Like I said, put it in the description if there's one that you know. The only ones that I've seen, the main one that I used to look at from time to time would be like Mr. Locksmith. And that's just it. The name is what he does. It's just a channel all about locksmiths. It's a bigger channel. It's probably been around for a while. There's also another one, Wayne Winton, and like I said, I'll put it up here. But I guess he has a podcast where they talk about being a locksmith, things of that nature. So, and like I said, if you know anybody else that does content on being a locksmith, put it in the comments, man. We'd love to know. The next business we can get into as a solo owner operator. Service business. It's being a painter. You can be a painter by yourself. I know a dude right now that's a contractor that's painting by himself. It's like that's all he does is paint. He's a painter. You don't, contrary to popular belief, you don't need a whole crew. Now, painting is a business that's very scalable, and there's a lot of channels out here that'll show you how to scale your painting business, right? But when starting off, you can definitely start off as an owner operator, and if you don't want to scale, you don't have to. You got to learn all aspects of painting. You think about it like this. Well, it's not just interior walls. It's so many people just think of interior walls or painting the outside of houses, like spraying houses. But no, everything. There's so many things with paint on them. Like you think about things like when people are doing epoxy floors. That's something that a painter would do. Like somebody like me, I really only I do paint a lot, but I only paint when it's added on to another job. So most people aren't just calling me because they need 2 rooms painted. So they're just calling me. They're calling me like I just did a job recently where they needed paint done, but they also wanted crown molding in the bedroom. Then they wanted it all painted. So they'll call me for that. They'll call me to install the crown, and paint the walls or however I do it. Or there'll be a drywall repair and then they want to paint afterwards. It'll be something like that. And then I end up painting the whole room or giving them suggestions on what we need to do, and then I do it. But if you just want to paint, yeah, you could do that. There's just, like I said, there's so many aspects to it. Now, you're probably going to have to deal with heights. It seems inevitable as a painter that you're, half these houses, you got to think of the early 2000s when there was the house style that was being built at the time was like, had these big 2-story foyers and 2-story family rooms and all that. It's just part of the game. Like, you're going to have to deal with heights at some point. Like I said, unless you just are adamant and you stick to like 1-story houses, but you're really going to be cutting a lot of stuff off. And you're going to have to learn like different chemicals. It's another thing when you're dealing with chemicals, because paint is a chemical, in different primers that you need, different kinds of primer, and when to use certain ones. What's the issue with reds, or what's the issue with yellows? All those different things, and how to apply them the proper way. All those different things matter, right? So, there's a lot of resources out there. I mean, look, when I was looking, the Idaho painter, man, like, come on, man. I was, when I was first starting and learning, I had to learn how to paint. He was in his, wheelhouse, man. He still owned the business. I don't think he owns the actual painting business anymore. Maybe he started a new one. I have no idea. I think he sold the original painting business, but back when he had him and his old partner or employee, I can't remember his name, but it was a lot of information, man, they were giving out. So you can, but they're still on the channel. You can go watch them on the old school Idaho Painter channels, but he still puts videos out. So Idaho Painter is one. I don't see a whole lot of solo painters on YouTube. Like, at least I don't see them. So, I'll put, if there's someone I know, I seen a guy, is it Timo Paints? I don't know if he still does painting as much with his videos, but I know, like I said, I'm a believer. You go back through the catalog and look at all the paint videos and everything. I think he was a solo operator. But so like I said, if you know anybody else that's a solo operator that does painting, go ahead and put it in the comments for everybody, and so we can all figure out who these people are, because I don't know, man, Google don't be sharing them with me like that. I don't know what's going on. But yeah, painting, it's something to start. Like I said, you do have to learn the ins and outs, but basic painting, you're good enough, man. You could get started today. All right, I don't even know what number this is, but now we're on to pools, to doing pool maintenance. And you see there's big companies riding around doing it, but I'm telling you, you can do it as an owner operator, and you don't actually need that many tools, right? You need a little bit of experience doing some plumbing and a little bit of electrical, and the biggest thing you're gonna need is learning chemicals. So this is kind of like with pressure washing, where if you don't know how to do the chemicals and you don't know how to mix them right, or you're trying to mix them too fast, or you mix the wrong chemicals together, you can literally mess the pool up. Like, you can actually create a chemical concoction that's dangerous by putting the wrong things in there, right? So you gotta know your chemicals when you're working with pools. But also the area that you're living in, you gotta know. I mean, do you got a lot of pools in your area? Where you living? Where I live, it's surprisingly, I'm in like the Mid-Atlantic. surprisingly, they're a good amount of pools. And it's not just pools. It's in-ground pools, above-ground pools, spas. You know, it's all those sorts of things. They're everywhere, right? And there's more people out there that they just don't feel like messing with it. I actually have a video where I was closing a pool, right? That's a very good service to offer at the end of the year. And, you know, a lot of people closing pools. You get people on the schedule, you can just rack it up. It doesn't take a lot to close a pool, but man, you know, once you learn how to do it, you can just, you know, you can make that money, man. And once again, there's different kind of pool systems and setups, but for the most part, you know, you start to learn the systems, man, and then, you know, they kind of start to blend together, you know, really. But whether it's, like I said, the opening pools is a big deal, closing pools, just the maintenance all summer, some places all year round. I'm telling you, man, it's a good thing to do. When it came to me learning about pools, though, you know, I got to give it up to the OG, man, Swim University. I don't know, man. And the dude, he's kind of funny, man. I think he's pretty funny. And you learn everything you need to know about pools on that channel. But that's a lot of pool maintenance. You have other guys running pool businesses like I think it's the Angry Pool Man. The Angry Pool Man is one of them. There's other people who run whole businesses doing it. So like the Sierra Pool Company, Chlorine King. That was another guy I learned a lot from. And this is years ago. I'm pretty sure some of these guys still doing it now. Angry Pool Man, you know. So checks out some of these channels. And like I said, if you know any other ones, add them to the list, man. I want to check them out. All right, the next one, of course, we have is junk removal. Now, of course, this one, you're gonna need some sort of truck or a trailer or something. You gotta have some way to get stuff up out of there. I mean, you could use a van, but it feels like it's gonna get kind of nasty. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you're really limited to the things you can carry. So if you have a truck, something really basic, or some kind of trailer, you can use that. One thing you're gonna have to know is that it is extremely competitive for that reason. Because, you know, it's one of those ones that really doesn't take any experience. I mean, there are ways to do things like, you know, I don't know. There's certain ways to, you know, where you got things where you have to take things apart and ways to go about gathering the things in the house. But really, you can learn that as you go. And it is a lot of work, especially if you're just one person doing it. It's a lot of work, you know. There's a ton of trips trying to go back and forth, but it's definitely doable. Matter of fact, who was it I was watching? I think it's called Junk Removal Journey. I would even say most junk removal companies are started by solo guys. You know, it might be two guys at a partnership, but there are a lot of guys I see that start out by themselves. Now, some of them quickly find out that it's a whole lot of work to do by yourself, because it's a lot of trips, man. A lot of trips. And if you're doing something like a 2-story house, I mean, man, there's just a lot to it. So, and then even emptying the truck out once you got all the stuff, that's a lot of work too. But it's one of those ones where it's a very low barrier to entry. You have a truck, you got two arms, 2 legs of the equivalent, a little bit of strength, you can do it, man. You can do it. And it's one of those things where if you do have to hire people to help you, the labor's cheap. You're not looking for skilled labor. You're looking for another hand that can pick something up and take it to the truck or to the trailer. That's it. So you're not looking for a specialist where you're going to have to pay them $35 an hour or something like that. So check out, I mean, there's a bunch. Now, this one is the one where there's a ton of channels, you know, so I don't know who's the best. I know ones that I watched, like I said, Junk Remover Journey was one of them, and I don't know how long he's been doing it, but there's Junk Squad. He's been around for a while putting stuff out. There's one of the newer guys, I think it's Jack of All Trades, and his channel is moving up like quick, man. He does basically like day in the life type junk removal on a daily basis, man. So he has really good content. Some of the OGs, Sonoma Strong, I think, and just junk removal. I think it's just called Junk Removal Service. It's Junk Guys or whatever. You know, Richard. His name's Richard, man. He's one of the OGs in this. I saw him on there back when I was starting my business, 7 years ago. Check all these guys out, man, and put some of your favorite channels in there. Now it's time to get into lawn care. Now, starting out, most guys will tell you don't need a ton, and there are a lot of videos on YouTube about this where, dude, you can actually just have a push mower in a lot of cases, especially if you're doing smaller yards. I mean, you can get out here with a push mower that you got on the back of a truck and a weed whacker and a blower, and you're good. You don't need some expensive setup or nothing. Now you do need a way to transport everything. So you need a truck, but you don't need a brand new truck. You just need a truck, right? So Lawncare is a great one to get into. Like I always say, one of the issues with Lawncare is that it's a lot of competition. A lot of competition. But if you show up, that's like, some of those are the biggest things. You know, you're not cutting people's grass too low. You show up when you say you're going to show up. I mean, it's just one of those ones where you can always find work. Now, the big thing is you're going to have to get a busy schedule to try to fill up a schedule. But that comes with time. It's like, you know, a lot of people lying to you when they telling you they fresh out the gate, you're going to start something today, and then a week later, you're just going to have a full schedule, and you're never going to, you know, maybe that happens if you have an old business or you're coming up with a concept that, and you know a lot of people, they got some kind of network. But if you like me, you didn't know anybody, you just started from scratch, it's going to take time, and that's okay. Sometimes you got to take time to build a reputation up. But regardless, it's something you can start today. You can start it today and just, you know, take care of the people, take care of the customers, and build up from there, right? You can stick with little tiny yards and, you know, a walking, just a push mower, right? Maybe you move it up to the self-propelled or something, right? Then you go up to the big boys, whatever. But you just got to know what you want to do. You know, if you want to build an entire business on lawn care, you want something that you want to scale later. You know, scale is not for everybody. So I tell people that already. Like, it's not for me. Not with this business. There's other businesses I think that I always think of that we're trying to move towards doing. Yeah, with my family that we have discussions on and all that. But what I do is not really something I want to scale. So that's why you never really hear me talking about scaling. But if you do want to scale, man, there's plenty of ways to do it. And of course, lawn care, there's actually, I don't know, there might be 50 million channels. You know what I mean? Like, something like that. There's I don't even know, I wouldn't even know where to start with lawn care because there's just so many channels of doing lawn care. But I will say that Make Money Mowing, I can't remember the guy's name, but Make Money Mowing, especially early on when he was first starting doing his videos, that's what he did. He was a dude with a push mower and a truck, you know, and a blower and a weed whacker. Nothing crazy. And he was telling you how to make really good money and get these lawns done, man. So I don't know, like I said, make money mowing is a good one, especially like if you're starting off real small. Some of the bigger ones, you know, Brian's Lawn Care and Blades of Grass, like they're great for what they do, and they built themselves into where they are. So you want to scale, you can watch those, like, you know, and see how they get there, or just their techniques to see how they make money. But lawn care is a staple, man. They're always gonna need somebody to cut. My man, what is his name? I put it on the screen because he used to be like, man, I can't cut all this grass by myself. You know what I'm saying? Like, grass is everywhere, bro. Lawns are everywhere. You can make money doing it, but you gotta be persistent. The last owner-operator service business I'll bring up today is, you know, it's poop and scooping. And I remember a few years back when I first heard of this business, a lot of people laughed about it, like, oh, you know, you're picking up dog poop. Oh man, it's clever, it's a business. And it's like, it's really a thing. I think they even have an expo now, like a poop con or something like that. There's a lot of people doing this thing. And I don't know a whole lot about it. I do know it's just like cutting grass or whatever, where you need a lot of yards. You know, you can't, you know, you're not in there charging somebody $500 for, you know, to pick up poop in the yard. It's one of the ones I wanted to bring up because you can start it tomorrow if you want. Just tomorrow. Just wake up tomorrow. I'm going to do this and I'm going to start today. You can do that. And of course, there's customers everywhere. Everybody has dogs and animals running around the yard. A lot of people don't feel like picking the stuff up, and if you charge a decent price, I mean, why not? Why not have somebody else take care of that for you? So you might want to check that out. There is a channel, I think it's called Crouppin. Yeah, that's why, because her name is good with it. It's Crouppin's Poopin' Scoopin'. Yo, it's a clever name, right? You know what I mean? But I think she has a business. I think at this point she scaled it to where she has employees now. But like I say, back catalog, man. I know she got videos when she was out there doing that work and starting it out and putting that work in to build it up. So that's a good channel to watch to learn about that service business. Well, there it is, and there you have it. I don't know, what was that, 11? I think that was 11 businesses that we brought up, man. Service businesses that you can start today to make that money, right? And a lot of them can build up. Whether you want to scale them or you want to add more services that can bring you more money. Like I said, say somebody like me with the handyman business or whatever. Yeah, I don't do the little jobs anymore because I built my skills up enough to where I can do jobs that'll pay more, right? That'll pay more per job, just period. So I don't have to work as much, right? I can work, man, I mean, and I'm being dead serious. Like, I can work 3 days and make what I used to make in 5. When I first started, make what I used to make in 7. Because I was working so much, not knowing what I was doing. But like I said, I built my skills up and I started to learn. And that laundry list, before I told you I was trying to be the diner and have 5 billion choices, I shrunk that down, right? So I still do of course I'm doing handyman work. I have a lot of options. I just don't do everything. Cut a lot of that stuff out that I advertise. Now, I'll still do it for my customers, especially the ones that been with me. I'll do it all. I'll do it all. If they got a pool, I'll do the pool maintenance. I have no problem doing that. But I don't just offer it as a service for anybody to just call me. So, but those are things that you learn over time, man, and you build into. So when I started mine, I'm telling you, I was going to focus on flooring. It was hardwoods and tile, flooring, and whatever other tile work I could do. That was my plan. And I'm so far away from that, it's crazy. So pick something, man. You don't know where it's going to end up, but you got to start somewhere. Don't get left out here, like a lot of other people that's going to sit around waiting until they get laid off, and then they're going to try to figure out what in the world they could possibly do. Even if you do it part-time and learn the ropes, then by the time something happens, you can just go full force right into it. Daryl, also known as the finisher. Stay safe, be blessed, and remember, if the trades don't work, nothing else does.